at igbatt.com. I was playing a little song here before we started. It's called Victory by Miss Cheney. And I wanted to tell you today that we do have the victory. We have the victory not because things are going right, not going right, or whatever the case may be. We have the victory because of our hope that lies in Jesus Christ. And what we talked about before, hope is not passive. Hope is not sitting back doing anything. Because we have that hope, we have the ability to move forward. We have the ability to develop a plan, a strategy, a way out. Hope is just not sitting back waiting for somebody to do something for you or to give you something. Hope is the fact that you trust you're God enough, you're God in you to say, hey, I can move forward, I can come up with a plan, I can come up with a strategy to change things in my life. Again, this is It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach. I'm Sister A. Legree. We're providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. Primarily to individuals who are living with the symptoms of a severe or persistent mental illness or other life situation. Again, log on to our website at igbatt.com. Okay, today what I wanted to talk about was anxiety. I wanted to share something with you. Living in dread about what can happen can keep us stuck. Living in dread about what could happen or what might happen can keep us stuck. We talk about anxiety. Now, for those of you who listen to this broadcast, you know all of us, if you're human, may experience anxiety from time to time, just like depression. But the difference between having an anxiety disorder is that it's certain categories, certain signs and symptoms that a person has to have in order before you can be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. But all of us have anxiety from time to time. Whether it's about running late for work, whether it's about not getting paid, or whether it's something that we have to do. But what we don't want to do, we want to keep an eye on that anxiety. We want to manage those anxious feelings. Because living in dread, living in a fear of anxiety can keep us stuck. We can be so focused on what's happening or what could happen that we forget to live, that we forget to enjoy our life, that we forget that we need to move forward in life, okay? Anxiety, worry, unease, nervousness about an event, that's the definition of anxiety, is worry, unease, nervousness about an event or a situation or something that's uncertain can keep us so stuck that we don't move. And of course, all of the emotions that we have are good. Because the emotions let us know when we feel fear, when we feel worry. You know, our emotions are signs or symptoms to us, internal signs and symptoms, to let us know that there's something that's not right, something that needs to be checked. You don't want to ignore your emotions or walk around as if you can't feel. That's not what you want to do. You want to use your feelings, those, anxiety, feelings of depression, to kind of evaluate and say, what's going on with me? Why am I feeling anxious at this moment? Why am I feeling depressed at this moment? So anxiety, just like depression, just like sadness, is part of living. It's part of being human. It's letting us know, it's the body's temperature to let us know that something is off. Something is going on inside of us, something that needs to be checked. But when we talk about anxiety, anxiousness, we have to watch that, because you can live in dread. You're living, today is 10/17. We could be so fearful or anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow that we forget to live now. We forget to inhale and exhale. We forget to enjoy the life now. We forget to take in the moment because we're so running around focusing on other things. So again, living in dread about what can happen can keep us stuck in the now. And we don't want to stay stuck in the now because time is passing. As I said before, you don't want to, when next year comes, look back on this year and realize you didn't get anything done. You don't want to look back on some of us can look back on 2015, 2016 and see that we really didn't accomplish the things that we said we were going to accomplish because we were so focused on the what's going to happen or what's going on now. We're so worried. I heard someone say one time, and many of you may have this, you have the good dishes, quote unquote, in your house and you only use for certain occasions, and I heard someone say they don't do that. They have good dishes they use all the time, and that makes sense, right? Because some of us are like that. We're saving things for when. I'm saving my good dishes for when we have company. I'm saving this for this. I'm saving this for this time. And that we can do so much saving that we're not living now. People will say, "Oh, I'll go on vacation next year when I have a little more money." And then when that time comes, "Well, I'll go on vacation next year when this happens." We have to live now. We have to live in the moment now. Yes, I may be, you may be living with symptoms of an illness, whether it's schizophrenia, bipolar, or a family situation, but you can't let that stop you from breathing. You can't let that stop you from living. You can't let that stop you from living in the now and enjoying the life that you have now. Tomorrow will take care of itself, and the past is the past. Right? We can learn from the past. We can build on things that we need to build on. We can develop. We can strategize, but we don't want to get stuck. But I wanted to take a minute, though, to talk about anxiety. And like we said before, let me kind of read a few things here. Occasional anxiety is expected, like we all get anxious. But if our anxiety is to the point where it immobilizes us, then we might need to take a look at that. We might need to talk to somebody. We might need to take a look at what we're doing, how we're living our lives, what are we telling ourselves. Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors go together. So if we're thinking a lot of anxious thoughts, of course, we're feeling a lot of anxious thoughts, we're going to behave that way. Right? So we have to take a look at what we're doing. Now, when we talk about from the DSM-5, and I talked about that before, there are different signs and symptoms. Anxiety symptoms are categorized into different areas. But then there are some people, for example, we call it generalized anxiety. These people are, you may be anxious, excessive worry about a lot of things. There's not one thing that you can say. Some people say, "I'm anxious about snakes. I don't like being around about going outside." But with generalized anxiety, it's nothing specific. Some of the symptoms include, of course, anxiousness, muscle tension, and think about it because you're always anxious, problems sleeping, being easily fatigued. Then you talk about panic disorders. And if you've ever had a panic attack, you understand what we're saying. But panic disorder is when you have so many panic attacks that meets a certain criteria. So when we talk about panic, and I'm reading from our little pamphlet that we have, that we put together. But when we talk about panic attacks, you know when you're having a panic attack. For many people, it feels like a heart attack. Now, the first couple of times, let me take that back. The first couple of times, you may not know if this is your first time. You may go to the hospital and say, "I'm having a heart attack," or "I feel like I'm having a heart attack." It's only after you've had a couple and you've actually started talking to your doctor that you're able to better recognize it. But panic attacks, when you have one, can make you feel like you're going to die. You can feel like you're going to have a heart attack. You can feel, and your signs and symptoms feel and look that way, right? But you're not having a heart attack. It's just that you're overly anxious. You're very anxious. That's what that is. Then we have the different phobias, afraid of flying heights, things like that, social anxiety, fear of going outside. But all of this type of stuff kind of goes back to the root of anxiety. You're being anxious. So it's really important that we monitor our feelings, our symptoms, and we talk to some people about it. Right now we're living in a time where so many things are going on. People are anxious about the election. Some people are anxious about their jobs and their money and their family. Just so much stuff. Their health. All right? We have a lot of things right now to be anxious about. For people who already have a predisposition to being anxious, this just adds more onto it. Right? And then there are some people who are not, generally as anxious. They're not but by nature, they may have anxiety or feel anxious every now and then, maybe a little more. But then there are some people who have it more often, feel it more often. But the case is, whatever you have, it's important to realize if you have a diagnosis, if I have an anxiety disorder, that you're taking your medicine, that you're getting treatment, that you're talking to people. If you don't, but you're feeling anxious, then that's okay. You want to make sure you're taking your medication, and not taking medication if you don't, but that you're talking to people, that don't let your mind just wander. If something is bothering you, if you're anxious about it, pull out a pen and paper, kind of write down, what can I do? How can I deal with the problems that I'm worried about, right? Don't let worry just come and just bully you around, because worry will do that. Worry will come and be like a bully. It will just keep You'll just keep worrying and worrying and worrying, and your mind is all over the place. What you want to do, take a pen and a paper, pencil, whatever. Start writing down, okay, what am I anxious about? What am I worried about? Put that on one side. And then on the other side, focus on, what can I do about it? What are the resources I have? What are the resources I don't have? How can I get the resources that I need? Do something about what you're worried about, right? Work towards a goal. Come up with a strategy. And the Spirit of the Lord will help you, right? Again, the Bible is not a feel-good book. The gospel is not just a feel-good gospel. It's a gospel that requires you to put in some work. Faith without works is dead. Many people have lost out because they're waiting for other people to do things. They're waiting for the Democrats. They're waiting for the Republicans. Waiting for God to do things. There are some things that you have to do, some work that you have to put in place, right? So living in dread about what can happen can keep us stuck. Don't stay stuck. As we in the middle of October, don't stay stuck. Look at what you're worried about. Look at what is causing you anxiety, and come up with a plan to strategize. Okay? This has been It's Getting Better All the Time, Mental Health Outreach. Log on to our website at igbatt.com. Thank you, and have a great day. God bless.